are some more breaking inputs coming in. The Congress party has also slammed the government, saying Rijiju should not have written this letter. This is government interference. He is creating a wedge and a lot of chaos. The Congress party had also said that the government wants to capture the last citadel of freedom. So a criticism that has come in from the Congress party yet again, criticizing the letter by the Law Ministry. The centre says more transparency required. The opposition leaders saying that this is interference. But in 2014, almost all the parties in the House, Harish, had decided to back this proposal of the government. But now, as the government has written this letter to the Supreme Court, the opposition leaders saying that this is the government trying to capture the last citadel of freedom.
Yes, that's right, Pratibha. Even remember the statement of the Vice President Jagdeep Dhankar, who he had very clearly said that, you know, the NJSC was passed by both the houses of the parliament unanimously, and all the parties had in fact voted in favor of the NJSC bill. But it was surprising that nobody protested when the Supreme Court had, as per an order in October 2015, scrapped the will of the people. In fact, it was a case where Supreme Court was clearly encroaching into the domain of the legislature and the executive, and this should have been condemned by all the members of the parliament, and therefore NJSC was nothing but a violation of the principle of separation of powers by the Supreme Court. So now, in fact, several legal experts also to whom I spoke, they say that writing a letter was not proper, because if NJSC was passed through a amendment by the parliament, such a fresh amendment should have been brought. What was the Supreme Court had undone a parliamentary amendment, but that cannot be brought back through an executive action. This is what several legal experts are telling Times Now, that writing a letter was not proper, that Collegium is not like a company board or any other organization where people from outside can also join. So Collegium is an exclusive preserve of the top judges of the Supreme Court. It has always been for 25 years, and suddenly the judiciary will not allow, the process cannot be brought back through an executive action. The opposition is calling this an executive action, this writing of letter by the Law Minister to the Collegium as an executive action, which cannot replace a parliamentary amendment which was struck down by the Supreme Court.
So let's look at the timeline now. In 2014, the government passed this resolution that was in support with a lot of opposition parties, including the Congress party, in fact, after which in 2015, the Supreme Court judgment struck down the National Judicial Appointments Commission Act. Now we have the Union Law Minister writing a letter, but the opposition questioning this, saying this is government interference. Let's also listen to what the Law Minister Kiren Rijiju had said regarding the Collegium system during the Times Now summit. Listen into this.
Collegium system is alien to the Indian Constitution. You tell me under which provision the Collegium system has been prescribed. But because the Supreme Court, in its own wisdom, through a court ruling or through a case judgment known as first judge's case, created a collegium. Now that collegium, whether the Supreme Court collegium or High Court collegiums, they recommend the name. And government has to do due diligence. Prior to 1991, all the judges are appointed by the government. What is the difference between consultation and concurrence? Is it same? What I'm saying is, as long as the collegium system is prevailing, I have to respect the system. But if you expect the government should merely sign the name to be appointed as a judge, just because it is recommended by the collegium, what is the role of government then? What does the word due diligence mean? Because the Supreme Court in its order itself has said that government has to do due diligence. So government is doing certain things which government is expected to do.